If you have a neighbor who is fond of sending your children on errands, especially when you are not around, I promise you that after listening to the heartbreaking story of 5-year-old Mohammed Kabiru Magayaki, you will definitely think twice before allowing anyone to do such a thing in your absence. On the evening of Saturday, April 24, 2021, Mohammed's mother Amina prepared potatoes for her beloved son. The little boy enjoyed his meal and afterward, he left his mother's side of the apartment. Amina thought he had gone to spend time with his father or to play with friends next door, as he often did. At 7 p.m., after the break of the Ramadan fast, Mohammed's mother believed her son was safely with his father, Alhaji Kabiru Magayaki. Meanwhile, his father also assumed that Mohammed was still with his mother. It was a simple misunderstanding that would soon turn into every parent's worst nightmare. After 8 p.m., following the special Taraweeh prayers, Amina sent for Mohammed, but her son was nowhere to be found. Panic immediately set in the family as they realized that their little boy had vanished without a trace. The anxious parents began to look for him that night, but since it was raining, the search became even more difficult. Mohammed's father, along with family members and neighbors, went from house to house, calling out the boy's name. After searching for hours without any sign of Mohammed, the parents became extremely worried and desperate. The rain continued to fall and eventually, they were forced to call off the search for the night. By the next day, when the police got involved, Mohammed had already been moved far away from home. Unknown to his frantic parents, their son had been taken from Kaduna to Zaria and then to Kano State, where his kidnappers placed him in the care of a woman named Amina. 5 days after Mohammed disappeared, his parents received a phone call from a strange number. The caller made it clear to him that his son had been kidnapped and that if they ever wanted to see him again, they would have to pay the sum of 30 million naira as ransom. The phone call may have improved the situation by at least making the parents aware of what they were dealing with. However, the true horror was yet to be revealed. Alhaji Kabiru Magayaki, who was very desperate to save his son, immediately entered into painful negotiations with the kidnappers. After much back and forth, they agreed to reduce the ransom amount to just 1 million naira. The family scraped together every penny they could find and eventually paid the money, believing they would finally have their beloved Mohammed back. But sadly, the freedom never came. The parents waited for days, hoping to hear from the kidnappers about where to go and pick up their son, but unfortunately, the phone call never came. Meanwhile, during this period, the police were still conducting their investigation into the sudden disappearance of little Mohammed. The investigation that followed would reveal a betrayal so deep that it would leave the entire community of Badarawa Junction in Kaduna North local government area in complete shock. The mastermind behind Mohammed's kidnapping was not a stranger. Rather, he was someone the family knew very well and also trusted. The police intensified their efforts to crack the case, and their hard work eventually paid off when they arrested and paraded 25-year-old Mohammed Nazifi, who was a neighbor to the Magayaki family. The police also arrested his accomplices, namely 86-year-old Sani Adamu, 82-year-old Umar Mai Nazara, and a female, 53-year-old Amina Ahmed. The relationship between Mohammed's family and Nazifi was more than just that of neighbors. The two families shared a fence, with Nazifi's parents living in the boys' quarters of the house next door. They were so close that Nazifi would sometimes eat from the Magayaki family's pot. Mohammed's mother, Amina, had watched Nazifi grow up and also considered him part of their extended family. Even more shocking was the identity of Nazifi's main accomplice, Sani Adamu Galadima, a man the Magayaki family had shown nothing but kindness to. Sani was a former army personnel who was discharged in 2012 after he attempted to shoot his boss in Ibadan. After he was discharged from the army, Sani had remained jobless since then, often relying on aid from friends and relatives in order to care for his family. In 2019, when thugs attacked him and cut off his hand, it was Mohammed's father, Alhaji Kabiru Magayaki, who helped in paying his hospital bills during his recovery. The investigation revealed the cold and calculated nature of the crime. Nazifi had recruited Sani Adamu Galadima and Umar Mai Nazara, who was a water vendor and a former lance corporal, to help carry out his evil plans. The plan was simple but heartless. Nazifi would send little Mohammed on an errand to a specific location where Sani would be waiting to kidnap him. On that fateful evening, Mohammed had no idea that he was walking into a trap. The trusting little boy, who was known for his helpful nature and love for others, followed Nazifi's instructions without question. As soon as Mohammed arrived at the planned location, Sani grabbed him as planned and then took him away from the area. The kidnappers moved Mohammed from Kaduna City to Zaria, which are places within the same Kaduna state. Then, after some hours, they decided to move him to Kano, which is an entirely different state, we then left it with a woman named Amina. Nazifi had lied to the woman that Mohammed was his brother's son, and since Amina knew that Nazifi had a brother in Kano, she believed the lie and then agreed to look after the child. For days, little Mohammed remained in the care of this stranger, unaware of the negotiations happening for his life. His parents, meanwhile, lived in agony, not knowing if their son was safe, hurt, or even alive. When the 1 million naira ransom was finally paid, Nazifi became angry. He was furious that Sani Adamu had agreed to take the reduced amount instead of holding out for the original 30 million naira they demanded. This anger would soon turn into something far more sinister. Nazifi realized that Mohammed could identify him as the mastermind behind the kidnapping. The little boy knew his face, knew his voice, and would certainly tell his parents that it was their trusted neighbor who had sent him on that deadly errand. This realization filled Nazifi with a cold fear that would tragically seal Mohammed's fate. Rather than release the innocent boy, Nazifi ordered Sani and Umar to eliminate Mohammed. Following these instructions, Sani Adamu took little Mohammed to a drainage system on the outskirts of Kano State. With the help of Umar Mai Nazara, they strangled the boy until he was no more. They then dumped his body in the drainage and disappeared from the scene. In a moment that broke the hearts of everyone involved, Nazifi led police officers to the drainage where Mohammed's decomposing remains were found. The little boy's body was evacuated and then taken to Murtala Mohammed Specialist Hospital in Kano for autopsy.
One Nazifi, so he met me, asked me that I should borrow him money. I said I don't have money. He said I don't have capital. He's selling things for Abuja. So I said I don't have money. And I said, how can I say I don't have money? Nazifi, where do you expect me to get money? He said, I mean like, how can I say I don't have money? He now brings this issue of Alaji Kabiru's son, but Alaji Kabiru has money. He is their neighbor and he's selling different types of car. So I asked him, how is it going to be? I asked him, how is it going to be? He said, I should not worry. He will bring the boy to me. So I don't know what he think later. He now meet me again that he will not bring the boy, but he will send the boy nearby. So from there, I will take the boy from Shagari Junction, Kaduna, Badara.
Continue. So what do you do from there?
So from there, I now take him to Zaria.
From Zaria?
We sleep for Zaria one day. So we slept for Zaria one day, and now we decided that how can I be walking around with people like this in the town? Actually, the Hajia Amina, she don't know anything about this thing. She's innocent. She don't know anything. I took the boy to her house, and I lied to her that the boy is my brother's child, because she know that there was one of my brother in Kano and is late. She know that there is one of my brother in Kano who is already late. So I not take that advantage and tell her to convince her, and she convinced. That is it. But she is innocent. So when the ransom was paid, that buried 1 million naira. So that very day, when I met with Nazifi, that these people has paid 1 million naira, he said, why do we collect 1 million naira? After he told us that the father has money. We said, we see the father drag, maybe we don't have by that time. He said, we don't have to do that. And already that I have give the Umar 150,000. That was the time when Nazifi was telling me that there is problem. I asked him, what is the problem? He said, if possible, let that boy no come back. And I called this Babangida. Say, this is what Nazifi said. We now still take the boy to Kano. No, sorry. I go to the Haji Amina house. I took the boy and I bring him to Babangida here. So Babangida asked me to hold his leg. He now hold his mouth and nose. That is it.
What happened?
That is how the boy died.
So you and Nazifi killed the boy?
No, Babangida.
Babangida?
Yes.
So what of the money that you guys paid?
Yeah, the money we collected, I give Babangida 150,000. But the remaining money is with me. So in the morning, that very day in the morning where I was arrested, Nazifi came to my place to collect his money so that me and him will share. Because Babangida will just join him.
Is it true that the boy recognized one of the people he was with? That's why they killed him?
No, the boy, I'm suspecting he recognized Nazifi. But the boy don't know me.
So when you were killing the boy, how did you do it?
I feel very, very bad.
How did you carry out the killing?
I hold the leg. Why Babangida Menasara? Umar Menasara close his mouth.
And he struggled till he died.
Yes, ma'am.
The revelation that Nazifi was behind the kidnapping left everyone in the community in shock. However, the irony was particularly painful for Mohammed's family because during the days when Mohammed was still missing, Nazifi's mother had been one of the people who came to console Amina. She had held the grieving mother's hands and prayed to Allah to reveal Mohammed's whereabouts, never knowing that her son was the one responsible for the family's agony. When news of Nazifi's arrest broke, his mother stopped visiting the Magayaki household because the shame was just too much to bear. However, Nazifi's father did visit Mohammed's family to distance himself and his family from his son's actions. He assured them that if his son was found guilty, he must face the full weight of the law. Despite this gesture, the community's anger was so intense that Nazifi's family was forced to relocate to an unknown location. They were no longer allowed to live in the neighborhood where their son had committed such a terrible crime. The same fate awaited Sani Adamu's family, his wife and 2 children, who lived around Malali, and his family members in Badarawa all abandoned their homes for fear of backlash from angry residents. The shame and fear of retaliation forced them to disappear from the areas they had once called their home. The 4 suspects, Mohammed Nazifi, Sani Adamu Galadima, Umar Mai Nazara, and the woman Amina Ahmed, who had unknowingly harbored Mohammed, were taken into custody. They faced charges of criminal conspiracy, kidnapping, and culpable homicide as they awaited legal proceedings that would determine their fate. For Mohammed's parents, no amount of justice could bring back their beloved son. The little boy who used to arrange his father's shoes after prayers, who loved to help others, who brought joy to everyone around him, was gone forever. What are your thoughts on this heartbreaking case? And how do you feel about neighbors sending your children on errands without your permission? Share your comments below, and don't forget to like this video, share it, and also subscribe to our channel for more true crime stories. Thank you for watching.